Part 3, New York City. I moved back to New York in 1998 to the Lower East Side. The city was completely different. So much had changed. I was writing a little, but the city was super hot. It was locked down. I got bagged within 3 months of moving back. The New York I grew up in had a certain freedom that was mostly gone. Eventually, I started figuring out spots to paint, leaning over the sides of buildings and painting upside down using extension poles. Big pieces to be viewed from far away, painted on the relative safety of a rooftop, a new experiment for new conditions. At the same time, I was bringing my painting indoors to a studio environment, using bucket paint and painting letters and words in a similar block style on panels and walls, and the occasional landscape. I started getting a little press. The NYC media machine is always looking for content. The New York hustle is real. There's so much happening all the time, so much opportunity. I linked up with A-Life. They'd just opened around the corner from my apartment. We quickly became friends. They'd heard about Krink and suggested I bottle and sell it. I was coming from a graffiti background. I'd been racking 98% of my supplies. I couldn't imagine anyone would pay for my ink to write graffiti. I went ahead with it as a creative project. I made everything in my apartment. The labels were made on a printer and hand applied. I made the first product shot in my bedroom. 4x5 film, a sheet of paper for background, and a clamp light. I wanted a neutral, industrial aesthetic, no reference to graffiti. I wanted it to be simple and open. For the first time, Krink was available to the public. I put them in the shop and they sold out immediately. I couldn't believe it. I made more and it sold out again. Around 2000, I expanded and got a little studio share on Delancey, literally the corner of a room to paint in. It had a separate bathroom with a window and a table. I put a fan in the window and set up making Krink. I wore a mask, dishwashing gloves, painting clothes, and made batches of bottles and mops, one at a time. Krink kept selling. I couldn't keep up. A store would ask me for 50, and I'd show up with 38. That's all I had, take it or leave it. I got another studio, from the corner of a room to my own room, with a separate spray booth for mixing. I got labels printed professionally and expanded to my classic graffiti tools, black and silver mops. Everything was handmade. I touched every label, every bottle, every mop. I was a one-man operation, shipping, invoicing, designing. Once again, I was giving ink and markers to friends, and they were going all out in the streets. There goes the neighborhood. Downtown was getting crushed. Krink tags everywhere. It was its own advertising. Before Krink, there were no bottles of silver ink or mops available anywhere. No big mop tags in NYC like there had been in SF. Krink was new and unique. It stood out and created a lot of demand. I was selling Krink to more stores, domestic and international. I'm getting into just the drips. I'm making Krink drippier. I stopped writing my name and started doing just drips on doors, objects, and mailboxes. Same material, same place, no name. Dripped mailboxes became sculpture. Doors became paintings. Krink drips became my new signature. I was interested in scaling this up and using color. I got a fire extinguisher and started experimenting with it as a painting tool. I was being invited to paint walls and buildings. My work had gone from letters and tight lines, which got a little tedious, to large, abstract pieces, which I found very freeing. Painting on architecture felt natural and intuitive. People were increasingly interested in my story, from graffiti to drips, painting, and design. Bigger brands were contacting me for collaborative projects to use my aesthetic. All of a sudden, I was learning about production and product design. I continued getting exposure for the brand and artwork. The interest was incredible and positive. What I'd been doing for adventure and fun was becoming a full-time gig. Krink was now global.